All right. Hey, this is Brother Brian here on KIEZ 106.7 FM, the voice of the community. Hey, I had to reach out to one of my family members who lives out there in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, to be exact, because I'm the elder of the grandkids and he's my younger cousin, but I have to seek knowledge from him because he's well studied, has a long history of of theology, and so I became confused on what's going on the national narrative today when it comes to this Kanye and also Kyrie Irving narrative that I'm hearing about this movie slash book called Hebrews to Negroes, and I'm lost on it. So, KB, the Truth Seeker, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful, man. I ain't seen you in a long time, but it's great seeing you.
It's been a minute.
Yes, it has. And sometimes it takes controversy in our communities for family to reunite. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to reunite. And,
Yes, sir.
And I thank you for your quest of seeking knowledge, acquiring the knowledge. So now I can lay back and you can teach me. I'm tired of being the teacher. So now I can sit back in my recliner. So tell us a little bit about where you are. You're over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when people hear the word Tulsa, Oklahoma, people that are from the South, we have heard the relationship to Tulsa, Oklahoma is a southern state. But main thing that we always hear about is Black Wall Street. Tell us a little bit about Tulsa, what it looks like today, and some of the history of what we heard, one of the richest, plentiful towns ever in the Union.
It's beautiful, man. Like you said, Black Wall Street. We have an actual area and it's tribute to Black Wall Street. And it's a whole little strip, and it says Black Wall Street on the actual street, and all that. They got the paintings, things like that. They got a few buildings that were left. They still have those, and they just added on to it. So it still has the culture. They got small boutiques that are Black owned right there now. They're trying to build it back up right now as we speak.
Okay, cool.
It's coming along.
How long you been out there?
8 years now.
Wow, 8 years. So you probably own about a couple of blocks by now. Is that right?
I wish I did. Not yet.
Well, no, right. It takes time, patience, creating a plan. So I know you come from great genes. I learned so much now my cousin, he hails out of Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and great family, great upbringing. And they are number one based on family values. So I know you're putting a plan together, you're acquiring knowledge, and I'm like you. I've been on a quest for knowledge for a period of time, and I just become intoxicated with knowledge because there's so much out here. But I get angry at times when I start questioning my past acquisition of knowledge that the public school system tricked me, if I can use that word.
Yeah.
They really, I guess they did what they were supposed to have done at that stage in order to condition me. But now I'm starting to read outside of the given curriculum, and I'm saying, hey, I want more knowledge. And I get so anxious, I have to take my time. So where are you at right now with you seeking knowledge? Because I see you carry the label, the Truth Seeker. Tell us, what is that, and how did you come about acquiring that acquisition of the Truth Seeker?
When I first moved out here, for like the first year, I didn't go to church at all. I didn't go to a church. I was just doing me,
Now, I want the people to know that you were raised up from an infant all the way to a certain age in church. So when I hear that, that's overwhelming to me. And so just walk me through that.
Okay, so I grew up in the church. My father's a pastor. I got brothers that are ministers. He's a pastor. I got brothers that are ministers, uncles that are ministers and pastors. My grandfather's a pastor. He passed away, but so I grew up inside the church. I was a preacher as well, and when I moved out here to Oklahoma, I just felt, just a dark cloud over me, new place, things like that. So I didn't go to church for a whole year. And the next year, my mom was talking about, you go to church today? I said, no. So I started getting that nudge from her. She calls me up every Sunday. You go to church? No, I ain't go to church. So I got my butt up, went to a church. I found a good church. It was a church called Going Home for Christ Church. It was a good church for the time, for the season I was in. I learned some good things, but I just felt that it wasn't enough. Like something's off. You know, I felt like something was off. I felt like that, you know, my entire life, I saw a lot of things inside the church that I didn't always agree with. You know, when we ask certain questions and things like that, it'll get pushed under the rug. You know, they don't necessarily want to explain on why they do certain things. So I always had that in my back of my head, like, why they do stuff like that. But
right.
it was say 2.5 years ago. You know, I was still in the church, but I wasn't all the way in, just bouncing in, bouncing out. So I just stopped going altogether, you know, and I just started reading the Bible for myself. You know, no one's telling me what the word says. I'm just reading it for myself. I read the Bible by myself before, but of course, I'm getting spiritually fed by the pastor, of course, also. So I'm taking what they're saying as not necessarily as law, but I took it as they know what they're talking about. You know, I had a trust.
A reference.
Yeah.
Credible reference. Right.
So when I stepped back and started reading scriptures for myself, man, my relationship with the Most High changed in a tremendous way. You know, and then sooner and sooner, I had talked with a few other guys talking about, hey man, you know who we are, right? What you talking about? Someone you Hebrew. I said, man, after I'm like, man, get out of here. I ain't no Hebrew, man. What you talking about? You know, so I denied it for a long time. Like, man, this dude's crazy. But the more and more I read, I came across Deuteronomy 28. You know, and everybody say you always run to that, but it's true. I mean, you look at the curses, we're the only people that fits those curses. You know, I had conversations with relatives talking about there's other people who's been oppressed. I said, but who are still oppressed? Who are in the land of their captivity? I said, us being here is proof of a crime that took place. And it's proof of a judgment that took place. You know, but a lot of people, they like me myself, I took what the picture was saying and I held it as law. Like, it's not getting taught in the church on who we really are as far as an identity. You know, there's a lot of people thinking that doesn't matter. It does matter. To understand the future prophecy, you got to know who's who, because the Bible is specific on who's who and what things going to happen in the end times.
Okay, and you are, and all this is coming directly from the main book of reference is the Holy Bible, correct?
Yes, it's in the Holy Scripture. It's in the Holy Scripture. It'll tell you who's who. Once you get those names, you can look them up. Oh, that's this person. You know.
So why do you think that from church to church or minister to minister, pastor to pastor, compared to your knowledge today, why are you receiving it different today than when you were taught something different in the past?
Well, for one, now that I know who I am, I look at the scripture differently now.
So self-awareness.
Self-awareness for one. And when you take scripture as far as in it's just being a history of just a people, as far as in you actually, it's your history, it's a whole different ball game. And you can connect with it now on a deeper level.
Okay. I may have to get with you on a one-on-one more often because I'm in theology school as well, working on my doctorates. And I read many and several different books to acquire knowledge, but I'm gonna have to put you in my repertoire of credible references. And so that's the reason I reached out to you, KB, is because I'm hearing this narrative now about Kanye and Kyrie Irving, and he spoke about this movie / this book called The Hebrews to Negroes. And it's been, I mean, the man came on national television explaining that, hey, why would I apologize for who I am? And I think it went over everybody's head, or most people's head.
Yes.
They wanted to hear the traditional or the conditional apology. I apologize for whatever. But this is something that, like you said, he became aware who he is, and he felt very strong about it, about the difference between an individual being labeled as Jewish versus the Jews, or the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. So tell us a little bit about this book, Hebrews to Negroes. You don't have to go detail, but just an overarching idea what's in it.
So for one, it's not anti-Semitic, none whatsoever. It gives a history on our people. And the problem is, the biggest issue was they wasn't prepared for him to do that. You know, they didn't think that this would ever happen. So when he put that out there, it's going to cause people to question them. What is this? And they don't want people to know.
The only thing he did, he just sent a link out. That's it. No commentary or anything.
That's
just a link.
it.
Okay.
Exactly. And the biggest problem that I have, a lot of people that are saying something is they haven't watched the movie or read the book, but they're saying it has anti-Semitic tropes, but you haven't even read or watched the movie. So how could you say that? You know, and then they try to define what it means to be anti-Semitic, and it's a bunch of crap. Mm-hmm. They don't want us to say that we're those people. They don't want us to know and discover as far as connecting history with scripture and DNA. They don't want us to do that. They don't want us to do that. And that was the problem. And they were caught off guard with Kyrie doing that. I mean, they heard Kanye doing stuff like that, but he hasn't put any content to back up to what he was saying. Now, Kyrie, he put a movie picture up there and he just left it be. That's all he did. And they're more hard on him than they is on Kanye West.
Right.
Because he has information that folks can look up to back up to what he's saying. And they hate that.
Yeah. It's all archived. And from my understanding, the movie itself, I ordered the movie and the book, so I'll get a chance next week or so to really dig deep into it. But I understand it's about history. It's really just a narrative of history.
That's it. There was a small part in there where it's talking about Hitler, and that they may be talking about it may be, I'll say, a minute worth. They're talking about Hitler on what he was saying on you guys got the true jewels of God. And he was talking about his people.
Okay.
And that's why in that statement, it says in the movie that it hasn't been confirmed. He says that it hasn't been confirmed, but that's what's been said that he said before he died. And that was the biggest thing I think they're grabbing about as far as the anti-Semitic tropes. But other than that, there's not one anti-Semitic trope. It's complete history along with scripture. And he's aligning scripture with history, and it's just connecting it. That's all he's doing.
So Deuteronomy 28, what does that actually, I've been hearing about this Deuteronomy 28, and I have not sat down and read it. What does it say?
Okay. It starts off, so the Most High gave commandments, laws, and statutes, right? And it's a covenant between him and his people, his chosen people. And he's pretty much saying, if you abide by my laws, statutes, and commandments, these are the blessings that you will receive. And then if you do not, these are the curses you will receive. And if you read through the scriptures, our people went into idolatry number of times. So for that happening, these curses had to take place. Even in the New Testament, the Messiah, I call what they call Jesus Christ, I call him by his Hebraic name, and I call him Yahushua HaMashiach. I call him by his Hebrew name. So he even said that we'll be scattered to the four corners. And this is the New Testament. So it hasn't even taken place yet. And then you connect that with what happened in 70 AD with the Roman and Jewish war. They scattered to Africa. They scattered to Africa, and they end up settling down in West Africa. And slavery didn't start in 1619. It started before that with the Portuguese, and that was in the 1500s. It goes deep, and that's where the word Negro comes from. That came from the Portuguese. They called us Negroes
because of a color.
Because of the color of our skin.
Right. Okay.
They were called the Negro Jews out there. Mm-hmm. Okay. It runs deep. So, but the blessings and the curses that we're under, it's evident as far as scripture and history. There's no people who's been brought from one country to another with yokes of iron. There's no people who's been sold for bondmen and bondwomen like our people. There's nobody who's been oppressed and tortured like our people for 400 years. Now, if you do the 1619 all the way to 2019, that marks 400 years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So 2020, a lot of things start happening. I don't find it to be strange once I start reading scriptures. The 400-year mark is over.
Wow.
So things are shifting. Things are shifting, and knowledge is increasing on who we are. And scripture, it says you will remember who you are in the land of your captivity. we're the only people who are in the land of their captivity. There's no other people that are in the land of their captivity but us.
And as I see you today, back in the day when I was living in Arizona with you, you were clean cut, because you used to be a barber. You were the household barber. Clean, real clean. You was getting everybody cleaned up. But today I see you with a beard, long hair. What does that resemble of or relative to?
I wanted to embrace my culture. You know, I was always taught, you know, can't have long hair. You got to be clean cut and shaved. And it was a perception that was not about our culture. It's another people's perspective on what looks good to them. So once I come to the truth and know who I am, I refuse to let another culture determine what's acceptable for me when they don't even know me. You know, I don't feel like you should judge me by my facial hair. As long as it's neatly and maintained and my hair is neatly and maintained, it shouldn't matter how long it is. That shouldn't matter. Am I qualified? I think so, but I don't fit the narrative on what you say is clean cut and as far as in acceptable. It doesn't work for me. Like I've been talked about a few times, like in the car business, you know. So some guys, they'll be joking around, but I know they're serious at the same time. They're like, when you gonna cut your hair? I said, never. So if they met, I said, I wish they would tell me to cut my hair. I was like, I'm going all the way to the top. They actually gave me Saturdays off because I started to try to keep the Shabbat. So they actually let me have it off. And I got a lot of kickback for that by other people. You know, just because, how'd you get that off? How'd you get that off? I didn't want to talk about it, but some folks knew because I talked to people like, hey, we the children of Israel. We God's people. We want to keep the Shabbat the best that we can. I mean, so when I did that, everything started changing. Like I was supposed to become a manager, you know, but since I don't work Saturdays, he wouldn't give me that job.
Now, when you say Shabbat, what is that?
The Sabbath. We're supposed to keep the Sabbath and keep it holy.
The Sabbath is Sunday, right?
No.
What do you mean?
It is not Sunday. So the Roman Catholic Church said it's going to be on Sunday. They said they have the authority to change the Sabbath to Sunday, which is sun worship. No, sir. The Shabbat is the seventh day, not the first day of the week. So,
okay.
According to where we're at, you know, they messed up the times and days and everything else. But as far as what we know right now, the seventh day is on Saturday. So the Shabbat is on Saturday.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Not Sunday.
You definitely have transition. You definitely have transition. Wow, that's interesting. Well, I was gonna call you Kenneth. You still go by Kenneth?
Only when I'm in trouble.
All right, KB. Well, you gave us some information. It's very powerful. It's definitely going to stimulate me to really dig deep. And I was reaching out to you. I will start reaching out to you more to get some clarity on it, because I definitely want to, because in my mind, I think two things separate us in our communities: race and religion. And I definitely, that's what I'm seeking information in order to combine the community, because even right now, I'm seeing us in our community, we're just separated from each other. Now I'm seeing a gender war, male against female, and it's time out for that. We need to collaborate and coexist together in order to put something together. And I think those are the two basic things: race and religion. And so we got a long way to go. I have a long way to go. But
we all
people
do.
like you, family, hey, I can sit back and just acquire the knowledge now. So I thank you. I'm gonna let you close us out.
I want to say one more thing. What we have to understand as people is that religion was made by people of not us. You know, the scripture that they all pull from, it was our way of living. It wasn't a religion. It was a way of life for us. It was our culture.
That's right.
And they turned it into a religion, and as far as in what they believe is suitable. So I think once we learn who we are as a people, we'll understand that the religions that are out there is not of us. It's not of the Most High. The scriptures, that was our life. That was our culture. That's what we do day in and day out. So it wasn't, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, it was just the way of life. You know, in Africa, you talk to people out there as far as in their customs, they said we always knew that's what we're supposed to do. They ain't got the Bibles like that. They know by oral tradition. This is what we do. That's what we did as lively. That's our life. We didn't have to read no book to learn that. It was just what we were taught growing up outside of a book.
So the 12 tribes of Israel, I got another question now.
What you got?
But the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
So is it truth that we come from the tribe of Benjamin?
Judah.
Now I'm hearing discussion between Benjamin and Judah.
So Benjamin, those are the folks that are in the islands like Jamaica and the Caribbeans.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm confused on. Okay.
But to the U.S., the folks that came to the United States, that's tribe of Judah. So Judah, that's the southern part of Israel. So there's Israel, there's Judah. And Judah consists of Judah's tribe, Benjamin, and some of the Levites.
So in order for me to really understand it, I have to really know the transatlantic travels during the slave trade to know how my people got here, because you went through the DNA ancestry test, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, so the Israel, the 10 tribes, when they went into captivity, they never returned into Israel. We have to remember that. So they never returned to Israel. So the only people that was there was Judah, and that was Benjamin, Judah, and some of the Levites. Because when the land split in half, some Levites came to the Judah because how they were living in idolatry. And Judah, they were still keeping true to the laws and commands of the Most High. Later on, they did fall back into idolatry, but at the time, they kept true. So they was able to stay in the land. Now, once they went to idolatry, the Most High did what he did.
Wow, it's pretty powerful. So do you belong to a certain group out there or anything? Or
I don't have, it's just me. It's just me. I self-study, I read, I watch a lot of videos, and what I do is I take the meat and I spit the bones out. I take what I can use and whatever I can't use, because there's some people, they have their own ideas. There's other folks who are angry. I get angry to a certain point, but I don't hate anybody. Mm-hmm. There's some camps that think that only us Hebrews are going to heaven. I don't believe that. Right. It's in the scripture. I love everybody. You
got a strong base. I know, because coming from the Christianity, your family was deep into Christianity. So yeah, I could definitely.
Oh yeah, and I understand scripture, and to know that the ultimate plan is for us to be the light, to be the example for the world, so that they can come in. So the scripture, there's a physical Israel, and then there's going to be the ones that are engrafted in. Those are the people who's not of the bloodline. They're going to be engrafted in, so they can come into the truth also. But they have to come in and understand what this is. Keep the laws, commandments, and statutes of the Most High. And understand there's an actual pecking order. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it is. You know what I mean? Because it's in the scripture, man. I will not argue what the scripture says. I won't do that. If it says that's it.
Okay. So do you recommend novice like myself to read through this book or watch those movies?
I highly recommend everybody. You don't even have to be a so-called African American to watch it, because a lot of people who are not so-called African American, they can watch that to understand on why we think the way we think. They were able to get a better picture on, for one, our struggle, and to where we're going with everything. They'll understand it better. They won't be, I just don't understand these people. Watch the movie, you'll understand. Okay. And the movie's not coming from a hate. It's not coming from hate at all. It's all informative. That's it. Okay. There's no one preaching hate. It's just giving facts.
Well, I'm gonna have to check the movie out, because according to the pushback that I'm seeing Kyrie Irving receiving, I'm thinking it was some anti-Semitic views that was in the movie. So no. I'm really confused. I have to order the movie, check it out, and give my opinion later. But
they was caught with their pants down, man. They wasn't ready for that to get pushed out. And now that it's out, it's the #1 on Amazon right now. It's the #1 movie and book on Amazon right now. So that means there's a lot of people watching that information. And that's why they're on them so hard. Because you done got this information out. Yeah. So I got to do all this stuff just to get my job back? Nah. It don't work that way. I stand with Kyrie all day. Kyrie and Kyrie, I stand with him.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you carving out some time with me, and we got to do it again.
Yes,
do
sir.
do a follow-up to this interview.
Most definitely.
So other than that, man, you enjoy the rest of your night.
I will, man. You too. You back.